Do you have any idea how to master networking etiquette? Networking etiquette. Hmm. Whether you network in person, and let's even say Chamber of Commerce events, BNI events, American Businesswomen Association events, wherever you go for networking in person, what is it like to master networking etiquette? You know, again, how much I love lists. And so, one of the first places I would imagine is let's think in terms of large events like Chamber of Commerce events. Okay. So, mastering the etiquette is you certainly want to show up dressed professionally and think about the people in the room that you already know you want to meet and how you're going to navigate that part. So, you're going to know ahead of time who's going to be in that Chamber of Commerce room. Most likely, you will have the director of member relations, possibly the president of the Chamber of Commerce itself, the CEO. You might have board members there of the Chamber of Commerce and a photographer, hopefully. I always talk about making sure that you photograph the events. Social media loves that with proper hashtags and keywords, of course, to be able to make that chamber's algorithm bigger, bigger, bigger. So think in terms of what would it be like to meet the president of the chamber? Okay. What would it be like to meet the chairman of the board? All of those things you can talk about and think about before you go. And that's why, for me, I always create, even mentally, a list. What am I going to do? Who do I want to meet? What are some questions I have in my back pocket at the ready? And what is the etiquette piece? Shake hands, look professional, pay attention. Please don't be on your phone in a chamber event, in an in-person event, and certainly not even on a Zoom call. You don't want to be down here looking at your phone, even if you are on a Zoom call. So please consider those things if you haven't already, from a standpoint of people are not going to be drawn to you if you are disinterested. Okay, so let's think about that. And then, of course, in a lot of these chamber events, even in a big room, whether you are asked to do your elevator pitch in front of the whole room, two or three or 400 people, probably not. But if it's a 20 or 30 group, maybe everyone in there gets to do their 30-second. So make sure you've got your 30-second ready to go. What happens if somebody has all your business cards in a basket and they go, today we're going to have a spotlight from a very specific business owner? Pick out of the basket, and guess what? You win. Do you have your 5 minutes ready to go? Networking etiquette, my friends, in a professional setting is super important. I have actually had people in my networking circles say, I'm not prepared. I can't talk for 5 minutes about my company. And then I go, hang on a second. I've asked you before in a group, what do you do for a living? And 25 million minutes later, you're still talking. So, networking etiquette, okay, keep it timed and think about. Now, bringing marketing materials, you need to check with the organization ahead of time. Many times, the organization itself doesn't allow that. If you've got marketing materials for your company, you're not a member yet, or someone else is sponsoring the event, you can't just put your brochures all over the event, the room, the table. So make sure you check that out. Then there are key members that you're going to be finding. So think about that as well. Who's the sponsor of the event? That's a huge person to meet. So find out who's sponsoring. And most of the time, they'll have PowerPoint screens going on throughout the convention hall or wherever you are. And even in a smaller group, the sponsor probably has their items on the table, or at least at the front table, so you can actually see that. Now, we've talked about conversation starters, sure, but let's think about open-ended questions. Okay. What brought you to this event? My boss made me come. All right, that's fair. What is the largest challenge that you're finding right now in this economic environment? That's certainly open-ended, and that could go a lot of different directions. So think about different ways that you could actually do that, because it's an opportunity right off the bat for you to get to know that other person just a little bit more. So how to master networking etiquette. And I have been in rooms before with the mayor of the city. And sometimes, depending upon the room, several mayors are there if it is a joint Chamber of Commerce meeting. I've been in the rooms with chief of police of an event, and dignitaries from different locations are there gathered together. Law enforcement, that's a biggie. So think about who's going to be in the room, where you're going, and what you're there for, and get to know some of those folks. It's really very fun. This is huge for me from a standpoint of joining committees and volunteering. I need help putting Santa bags together, candy for the kids for upcoming events. Okay, I'm in. I need help with whatever the topic is. Can you stuff bags in the chamber? They've got goodie bags and things like that, vendor events and things like that. Put all the different um, marketing pieces from other members in those bags. Let's do that together. And it really is a fun way to get to know people. And chambers of commerce usually have conference rooms, and they've got all the bags lined out and all the marketing materials lined out. And you get to meet and chat while you're doing the stuffing with other people. And then, oh yeah, I met you at it's pretty cool, the recognition part. Also be a connector. We've talked about that a little bit from a standpoint of, do you know a banker who specializes in mortgage? Do you know a realtor who specializes in commercial? Do you know who? And so please consider the connector part, but the only way that you're going to be the connector is if you actually get out there and meet the people. Then, of course, we talk about following up, super important. And we talk about engaging on social media and things like that. So please remember, there are so many ways, honestly, to get to know the people in some of these larger events. How to master networking etiquette on Zoom is a little teeny bit different. You still want to have professional appearance. You want to have a background that's not too distracting, even if it's your company logo and things like that, that's great. You want to keep eye contact with the camera, not necessarily looking down at the Brady Bunch squares. And those things are super important on a Zoom call because you're down here looking around or talking to someone else like that on your call, and they're going, "Excuse me, am I interrupting something?" Oh, no, sorry. I just had a ding dong. Someone's at the door. Ding dong. My kid just walked in. Ding dong. The dog needs to go out. Zoom etiquette is also something to master as far as networking etiquette, even when it's online. So please consider that if you haven't already. It is a visible, okay, this is a visible way for people to go, I'm never talking to her again. That is not a good fit for me. And even on a Zoom call, I have actually seen people do this before. Sometimes they record their Zoom chat. Can you please hang on a second? Let's record, let's go Facebook Live. So you're meeting with someone one-on-one that you met at the Chamber of Commerce event, and now you're going to record that just 2 or 3 minutes, put it on Facebook Live, then take that video, put it on your YouTube channel, and then from YouTube, you can put it on the featured section of your LinkedIn account. There's so many ways to cross-pollinate, and how to master networking etiquette is one of my favorite things because there's a million different ways to do something right, but there's a few that you can totally mess everything up. So please remember, the how-to pieces of networking are large and vast and ever-changing. So make sure the follow-up is important. You're there to help the other person. And certainly one of the biggies is you are there to build relationships.